Hey friends, happy Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. Hopefully everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday, a wonderful week out there so far. In this video forecast, we're going to be talking about a major winter storm potential for the East Coast. Note, I did say potential. We're going to go in through the latest scenarios in which this storm could bring potentially anywhere from heavy snow to a miss off the East Coast. We're also going to be talking about bitterly cold temperatures and wind chills, diving into the latest numbers there, and our long-range forecast going into the new month of February 2026. So make sure to like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, especially like and subscribe if you haven't already, because it is absolutely free for one, and for two, you're helping to get this information to more and more people. Would love to hit 150,000 subscribers. We're getting so close. We're around 2,000 subscribers away. And again, you can help me get there by subscribing. It is absolutely free to like and subscribe the video. It doesn't cost a penny. Without further ado, let's get into the forecast and talk about more Arctic air that is over here into the Ohio Valley, much of the Mid-Atlantic, and really just in the eastern United States this afternoon. Temperature anomalies here are a good, 30, 35 degrees below normal. And again, this is the climatological coldest time of year. And in fact, we're just about halfway through the winter season. And here are your wind chills that we started out with at 7 a.m. this morning. And notice we got those 30, 40 below zero wind chills for our friends to the north in Canada into Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec. Also, those 10 to 20 below zero wind chills up and around the Great Lakes region for parts of the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast. And looking here at our winds this morning, the winds were pretty light, so it did not make the wind chills any worse than they could have been. But you can see as we go into the afternoon, the winds will increase in and around the Great Lakes region, parts of the Ohio Valley, and in the east. And what that will do is that will keep our wind chills below zero here for portions of the Great Lakes region. So we're going to be seeing Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Maine. Those areas we're going to stay below zero as we go into the afternoon. So bundle up if you're heading outdoors for, say, lunch this afternoon, heading home from work or school. Might want to bundle up out there. It's going to be pretty chilly, that's for sure. Now, we are looking here at some lake effect snow going through the rest of this week in and around the Great Lakes region. Also a storm system moving in across the Pacific Northwest, bringing both rain and snow, rain and green, snow and blue. And you can see as we go into the afternoon, some cascade snow there for the Pacific Northwest across Washington state primarily, but also down into Oregon. Also Rocky Mountain snow in parts of Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, northern Utah. And then yes, our lake effect snow will continue as we go through tonight and going into the day on Thursday. A lot of Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, Lake Ontario. Those are the three main lakes up here that are going to provide that lake effect snow going through the end of the week. And this goes all the way through 7 a.m. on Friday, January the 30th. Here's the snowfall prospects that we do see. Again, yes, the Pacific Northwest, the Cascades, we are seeing a couple of feet there. A couple inches of snow, higher elevations across portions of the Rockies, northern Rockies, and then a lot of snow in the Great Lakes there. And we also have liquid precipitation too. So for Seattle and Olympia over here in western Washington, yeah, we could see a couple more inches of rainfall going up through Friday morning and some minor flooding. So if you live near a creek, a stream, low-lying areas here, you have a lot of ditches in your front yard or something like that, just watch out for that. If you are, say, backing out of your driveway or driving down the road, you may see some water standing in some farm fields or something like that out here. Would not be shocked. Now across the Great Lakes, we are going to be seeing some snow, so this will be frozen precipitation with snowflakes, and we could be seeing quite a bit of it. We could be seeing 1 to 3 feet over the next few days, especially off Lake Superior, the central and eastern UP of Michigan, western lower Michigan, 8 to 12 more inches or so, and then western and upstate New York off Lake Ontario. We could be seeing quite a bit of snowfall, and this goes through 7 a.m. on Friday, January the 30th. Now, beyond Friday, we're going to be watching this northern stream, which is our polar jet, diving south out of Canada, and our subtropical jet, which is our southern stream coming up from the north. How these two interact with each other, the polar jet and the subtropical jet, will mean everything with the storm track and its magnitude of how strong the storm will be, and if we can get a major blizzard for the East Coast. We're going to go through the scenarios here. Here's the latest ensemble members, strong strong high. This is an Arctic high up here into the upper Midwest northern plains, back toward the Dakotas on Friday. Lower pressure underneath near the southeast coast over Georgia and Florida on Friday evening. And then as we go into Saturday, you notice here right offshore the Outer Banks in North Carolina, we start to get some low pressure, and that is going to deepen rapidly, whether it's out to sea or it's parallel to the coast. That means everything with what we could see here for a scenario going into this upcoming weekend for the East Coast. Here is the latest scenario on the 0Z European model, and notice it does break out snow as soon as Friday night, Saturday morning across North and South Carolina, even some snowflakes in northeast Georgia. And as we look at the day on Saturday, it continues to bring snow even to coastal regions of the Carolinas, Myrtle Beach, up there towards Wilmington and Norfolk, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. Maybe even Virginia Beach, and then this is kind of a swing and a miss. Yes, Boston, Cape Cod, and Providence could see some snow, but further west towards New York City, Hartford, and Jersey, probably nothing, according to the European model, and Nova Scotia would get a blizzard out of this. So we're keeping an eye on our friends in Canada. And then looking at the American GFS run at 12Z today, fresh off the presses, it is high confidence here with snow in the Carolinas because also the GFS is showing it, and also watching that up into Virginia. So there's pretty high confidence in snow occurring in the Carolinas. Now it comes down to how much, and it kind of skirts the coast again, kind of looking similar to the European with the areas near Boston and Providence, Cape Cod, seeing heavy snow, and it kind of misses down east Maine, a lot of the mid-Atlantic northeast coast, and again, it shows a blizzard for Nova Scotia. So looking here at the latest European ensemble mean, this gives you a great idea of where the heaviest of snow could be. And again, it's just grazing the coast. Now, we're still a few days away. This could wobble east or west. It could wobble east, go more out to sea. It could wobble west and come more on shore, and that would produce more of a heavy snow blizzard scenario. So that is something to keep an eye on. Here is the national blend of models for what it's worth. It's all the models into one output, and you can see what it shows, and it does show high confidence in accumulating snow and perhaps a few inches of it from the Carolinas, maybe an inch or two in northeast Georgia, up into Virginia there, West Virginia, and then notice areas there into the southern portions of Maine and southern Delaware before it kind of curves back out towards sea and kind of just grazes New York City there. That's the national blend of models. This is the most likely scenario. So areas for Boston, Cape Cod, maybe Providence, still holding on to that firm chance for accumulating snow and a big snowstorm, but it looks like areas for New York City, Albany, back here into western Massachusetts, Hartford, down there toward DC, our opportunities are slowly decreasing right now, but they could still increase. Again, we are a few days away. This could wobble 50, 75 miles west, closer to onshore, or it could wobble east and a lot more decrease in that confidence. So we'll continue to watch this system really over the next few days is what we're saying here. Now, as we go into the long range, after this storm goes by, there could be more clipper systems coming down out of Canada that could phase over the northeast. We'll be watching in early February, but the Arctic air will remain in place. Yes, it'll break down a little bit here as we moderate our temperatures in the upper Midwest with some high pressure. I think we're going to start to see that Arctic air breaking down across the southeast. And you can see here as we go into February, we look up at the stratosphere because the stratospheric polar vortex is going to have a big say in what happens here in the second half of winter, because the latest European run, and it's been very consistent, you can go back several runs and see this, there is likely by the first week in February to be a complete split of the stratospheric polar vortex. One lobe over here in Asia, another one over North America. Those are two separate lobes of the polar vortex, and that would cause a very big disruption in the cold air up there in the Arctic. So as we go into week 2 now of February, the 8th through the 15th, notice we broke down that Arctic air. I was telling you here the first week between the 1st and 8th of February. Now we're continuing to break it down. We have moderating temperatures in the east, but we're reloading the Arctic and Siberian air up here into the Arctic and Western Canada. Alaska gets colder between the 8th and 15th there of February. As we go into the third week, notice how extreme some of our cold temperatures will be. And do note, yes, many times this year, the models have shown that the Pacific Northwest gets really cold, and then at the last minute, it shifts east. Not saying this doesn't happen. I think we could see some cold in the Pacific Northwest. We don't exactly know where the cold will unleash the most, but there is a signal here. So that is the most important thing. Looking at the big picture, there is a signal for extreme cold in Western Canada and into the northern U.S. between the 15th and the 22nd of February, roughly that third week of the month. And then that colder air, wherever it goes, will go south even from there, and it could go all the way to the Gulf Coast. This is the stratospheric polar vortex that's working with the tropospheric polar vortex here. So leaking of cold air from the stratosphere is going to be coming down and helping out. So that means we're going to have the coldest air on the planet here in North America, and then over with the other lobe in Asia. So that's what we're seeing in the second half of the month of February. How does that bode with our snowfall chances? Again, nor'easter threats and Great Lakes lake effect snow will continue through the first week of February up through the 8th. And then after the 8th, there's a signal for maybe an increase in winter storm potential here with mountain snow out west and low pressure coming out from Colorado, more flat lows. And those could potentially produce some accumulating snow in parts of the upper Midwest through the Great Lakes and New England away from the coast. And then as we go into the third week, 15th through the 22nd, bigger signal of a big storm here in the Midwest and the Central Plains, Northern Plains vicinity over here into portions of the Ohio Valley. And then as we go from the 22nd through the 28th, again, more of a northeast, maybe even an I-95 type of snow event as some of that colder air starts to work in. And even some of these snow that's pretty far north, I think we could pull this a couple states south as well if that cold air comes to fruition. So as we look through February, it looks cold, it looks snowy. There's no doubt about it. And the stratospheric polar vortex is going to have a big say on what happens in the second half of the winter season as we head into the month of February. And again, there's a big signal here. You can see it. There's something there by mid to late February, and it could be a big winter storm in the central U.S. that we may be tracking very well by then. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like and subscribe especially. It is absolutely free to do. It does not cost a penny, and you get me closer to 150,000 subscribers. Of course, comment in the comment section down below. You want to follow me on Facebook for more weather information. The link for that and my X account will be down in the description down below the video. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a wonderful, warm, and safe rest of your Wednesday out there.